Hi, and welcome to Family Craft Night. I am Amy Moskowitz, and I'm the reference manager at the Haverford Township Free Library. This is Family Craft Night, an evening where we do some easy and fun crafts with items that you most likely have in your homes. So tonight we're going to be doing two fun crafts, and we are going to get started with the phone throne. This is the phone throne. And this is a craft that you can do to display your cell phone when your family is watching something together or listening to something together. Have you ever had the experience where you are trying to maneuver your cell phone and put it somewhere where you can listen and watch, but it keeps falling over and it makes it really difficult to watch and listen to something as a family? You can make a really simple phone throne out of a roll of toilet paper. And then when you put your phone throne up on a table, you can use it like a pedestal and display your cell phone like that. So what you'll need to make your phone throne is just a roll of toilet paper and some scissors. So you're going to take your roll of toilet paper and you're going to cut out from the top. What I did was take my pen or pencil. I like using a big fat thick pen like this. You're going to mark off lines coming down from the top of your roll of toilet paper, and I'm going to put this back here to show you. You're going to mark off from the top lines coming down the side and across about an inch from the bottom. And then back and over up the other side on a diagonal. And you're going to mark that off with your pen first before you make that cut. And then this is probably the most important part so that your phone stays up when you want to hold it there, is these little cuts down in here. If you can see on mine, I make two little markings down in here where my phone is actually going to sit. So I had cut across here, across the front, straight across, and then I want to make a little cut down and up, and then I want to do that on the other side too. I want to go down and up. So it's really easy cuts. It's down on a diagonal, down the toilet paper tube, and then you actually want to cut down farther than that inch so that you actually have a place for your phone to settle, and then back up, and then straight across the front, come down a tiny bit on the other side so that it looks identical, and then back up. And that way when you're finished, you have your phone throne so that your phone can be nestled in like this. And that then you can watch your shows, you can listen to your music, and you can put your phone down on a table and it's nicely displayed without it falling over and tipping over, and you have a nice display for your phone. So you can see my cutout looks something like this. And then what I did was just take a piece of duct tape. That's my blue, is just some duct tape. You can get really creative with your decoration. It would be really cool if you can make the Game of Thrones throne for your phone and make a Game of Thrones phone throne. But all I did was just take some colored pencils and decorate it. I made it orange, which turns out to be a little bit too close to the color of the actual toilet paper tube, but you can make it any color that you want. I just decorated it with some colored pencils, some orange colored pencils, and some duct tape to make the blue. Some people actually got really creative when they got used to the cutout and actually used wrapping paper and wrapped the toilet paper tube before they did the cutout and then made the cutout. So theirs looks really, really nice and fancy. They wrapped it with wrapping paper first, so it looks really nice, and then did the cutouts. I wasn't really that comfortable with my cutouts yet, so I didn't wrap it. But you can make your phone throne look as fancy or as plain as you want. But this is my phone throne. You cut, remember, down on an angle. Make that tinier incision down, back up, straight across, back down, so that both sides look identical, back up on a diagonal, and then this is just the top of your toilet paper tube. And when you're done, you have a place for your phone to sit. Phone throne. That's our first activity for tonight. All right, our second craft is the one that was pictured on the advertisement. That is our art project. And this is our family hands project. And it says, when the world stayed apart, this was my favorite place to be. And it has, in this case, Dad's hand, Mom's hand, and our child's hand. And so this is a really simple craft to make. It has hand tracing, which is fun to do. And as we know, there's all different kinds of families. So use whatever you have in your family. You can have grandmom's hand. You can have mom's hand and child's hand. You can maybe even get your dog's paw in there, depending on what you have at home. You're gonna need a large piece of paper. And then you can see on mine, I used construction paper. But if you don't have construction paper, you can just trace hands on the original sheet of paper. Just start with whoever has the largest hand first. And you're gonna just put that hand down here. If you don't want to use construction paper hand, you're gonna put that hand almost in the center and trace. Or if you use construction paper hands, you trace them one at a time and put them on. So I have the biggest hand here is Daddy's hand. So we used yellow construction paper for that, traced that and cut that out. And then we made Mommy's hand in red construction paper, but again, you can just trace them one at a time on one sheet of paper. And just go one over the other if they're, different sizes, if they're vastly different. Or you can use different construction paper. And if you have construction paper hands, I use tape to just put them on here, or you can use glue. And then you have, your young child's hand that has me, or you can use their name. I made mine in April of 2020, or you can write May of 2020, or you can just write quarantine 2020. And our phrase, remember, is when the world stayed apart, this was my favorite place to be, hand in hand. So for this activity, you're going to need your marker, maybe some colored pencils if you want to color it in, your scissors if you want to use different construction paper, or just your one sheet of paper if you just want to go hand over hand and start with the largest hand first and just put your child's hand or your dog's paw or your cat's paw. I had my cat next to me at one point, but it looks like she left. And just go hand over hand, largest to smallest, to show that you were hand in hand during this quarantine experience. And I'll hold it up one more time so we get the phrase for those of you that just joined us. And our phrase at the top is, when the world stayed apart, this was my favorite place to be. And so we have our largest hand, our medium-sized hand, and our smallest hand, all hand in hand, with the date at the bottom. So any questions or comments about our craft tonight? Feel free to put them in the comments. We have our phone throne, just as a reminder, or for anybody just joining in. We have our phone throne here, made out of a toilet paper tube. And I've used this, it is very practical. It does actually work. If you do the right cuts and you make each side identical, I'll hold it up a little bit closer to the screen so that you can see, and that you can see those indentations. My cuts aren't even entirely precise. That one's a little bit better. But you make each side identical, and you cut down the sides on a diagonal and make those indentations, and then you cut across the bottom and up the other side, and you have a place for your cell phone. And then our second craft tonight was our art project with our hands. And here's our phrase: when the world stayed apart, this was my favorite place to be, hand in hand. Thank you so much for joining us tonight for our second edition of Family Craft Night. These are, again, crafts that you can make with simple things from home. I like to show you crafts that you can do either with your family at home, with things that are in your home, that you don't need to go out and get, things that you can stay safely in your home and do, or things that you can do on Zoom with family members, maybe with grandchildren, nieces or nephews or cousins. So hopefully you enjoyed the two crafts that I showed you tonight. If you need to review this video, feel free to do so. This is going to be on Facebook and then uploaded to our YouTube channel. I also wanted to tell you about a fun upcoming activity coming up this weekend. We have our virtual scavenger hunt, so we hope that you'll join us for that. There's going to be a prize for the winner that supports a local business in Haverford Township. So please join us for that this weekend. Thank you so much for joining me for our second edition of Family Craft Night. If you missed the first one, please go back and check that out on our Facebook page and on our YouTube channel. And thanks again. Have a good night. Bye.